Finally, dude, fucking finally! Stupid freaking boss! What is up everyone and welcome to another video. We just defeated High Lord Kruul finally in the Legion Time Walking Mage Tower Challenge. Pre-nerf and everything as I'm aware. Date of completion 12th of December. It's a freaking hard challenge because you cannot use your covenants, your legos, your nothing. And as you know, as a demon hunter without borrowed power, you are really squishy. And I'll show you how I did it. I got you, bro. Credit goes to the one and only Apex from the stream. You might see him as Vyzon or Vyzon Druid, who has completed the challenge himself for that sexy bear form. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the one you cannot get yet. But he's got you, like he's got me, bro. He taught me a bit about scaling, about some trinkets, and that's what I'm gonna show you. How to apply all these things on the Vengeance Demon Hunter. Let's get into it. First, scaling doesn't work that well. I mean, your scaled gear, some people have done it with the scaled gear, but your scaled gear is crap in my opinion. What can you do to maximize DPS and resistance? Well, for starters, I used Heart of Azeroth, the one from BFA, which I never grinded on. Which I never grinded for, but it doesn't matter. This provides better stats and the item level doesn't get scaled down to 50. It is 79. Better stats. You want a lot of stats. Agility, crit. You want to maximize your DPS potential. As weapons, I did use the artifact weapons. Yes, the one you have from Legion. If you still have them around, use them because they have insanely more damage, better stats when you're scaled down, and you will see a great increase in DPS. For trinkets, some people use cheat death trinkets like Rail Dagger Haft. This is from the second boss in Nighthold. Pretty good trinket, but I found out that when you're in the heat of the battle, this might share cooldown with your last resort talent. But I used the Ravage Seed Pod. You can get this on any difficulty from the first boss in Emerald Nightmare. I got it on Mythic because I was lucky. When you use this, you put a thing on the ground that increases your leech and deals damage in its area. You want to put this down mostly on Inquisitor Varys. But if you feel like you cannot kill the Nethers fast enough and you don't have anything to CC them, you can use it on them if it's available. It's just a quick kill. And for the second trinket, I didn't even socket this because how do you find cogwheel sockets that don't require engineering? You have a chance to spawn a Dragonling to fight with you for 20 seconds. This Dragonling deals a shit ton of DPS and it did help me a lot on Varys. So that's it for gear. Talents. I use the basic Spirit Bomb build. Some people might go with Feast of Souls for the second talent, not with Fallout. I think they're both great talents. And you want to go for the Spirit Bomb build because you want, as I said, a lot of DPS. I tried with the Firebrand build, just like a mock run, but no man. You resist a lot more, but you don't deal as much DPS. And you really need DPS, especially in part 2. And Last Resort shouldn't even be in the question. You need this when Kruul will attack you with the Annihilate ability. You need it, you need to save this for the last. And you could change from Quicken Sigils to Sigil of Chains if you want more control, but bear in mind, when you want to interrupt the Nether Horrors, you have to place the Sigil of Silence 1 second earlier if you don't play with Quicken Sigils, because it triggers a lot slower. Whereas with Quicken Sigils, you can put it on the ground just 0.5 seconds before and you're good. Now let me tell you a little bit about the tactic. So in part 1, you want to kill Varys as fast as possible. Not because he will kill you, but because he spawns during the encounter some golems. Those golems knock you back and are pretty much annoying, and they do damage you AoE even though they're killing themselves as well while they're doing it. Yes, you can ignore the knockbacks with Glide or Infernal Strike as Vengeance Demon Hunter, but it doesn't do you that much good because it also deals damage, and sometimes when you want to interrupt Nether Horrors and you get knocked back, you have a hard time going back into the mobs and CCing them. So you just want to sidestep it anyways. If you want to ignore a knockback, just ignore the knockback from the Tormenting Guys. For maximum damage, you want to attack Varys and make sure you don't get 5 or more stacks from his area. But you want to attack him mostly because if the Nether Horrors see you attacking the boss, they will not go to Velen sometimes, they will go to your position, which makes them easier to kill because you can cast Fell Devastation and AoE damage them and Varys. And even as a better option, if you use the trinket and you have your own area of damage, you can kill them even faster. So with Varys, you want to focus Varys more than the Horrors, even though you have to make sure that the Horrors don't deal damage with the ability that they're trying to cast, which means you have to interrupt it. Oh yeah, and as damaging golems, no, just damage them if they're really low health so you can have a bit of a room to breathe. And feel free in phase 1 to use the health globals, we kinda need them as demon hunters, but try to use 1 at a time and have 2 up, or at least 1 up all the time. You will need it in part 2. Speaking of part 2, in part 2 you want to focus all your attention on Kruul and damage him as much as possible. And when the nether horrors appear, you have to make sure that they die first. I usually focus them in that moment more than Kruul. Why? Because if you die, and you'll see in the kill, Prophet Velen and the Demon Hunter that I forgot her name, can kill Kruul if he's low health enough. But if the nether horrors are up, they can kill Velen pretty easily when they cast their ability. So keep that in mind. When Kruul casts Annihilate, you can take 4 Annihilates, but the 4th will kill you. But the boss will be at 0.something% of health. Easily killable by the NPCs if you still focus on the nether horrors. I cannot stress this enough. Always use Infernal Strike when he jumps on you and puts that green area, because it slows you and deals a pretty significant amount of damage. On the first Annihilate, very important, do not cast anything else than Demon Spikes. Let him hit you, and if you have trouble, go use a Health Globe. But do not, under any circumstance, use Metamorphosis or anything else. You can use Fell Devastation if you're really low health and you can't reach any Health Globe, because it doesn't have that big of a cooldown. Always use your Trinket, even on Kruul, so it damages him and you gain 25 leech. Now, for the second Annihilate, you will use Metamorphosis and a Demon Spike. This gets a little bit harder, but you can take the hit pretty easily. If you feel like you're still low health, you should kite him a bit. Like, run away from all the green areas he's spawning, let him chase you a little bit so you can gain your footing and you gain your fracture ability. Make sure you're surviving this. Why is that important? Because you do not want your last resort talent to get triggered. You want that for the third Annihilate. The third Annihilate should kill you, but last resort enters and you gain Metamorphosis instead from that lethal blow. And this is the moment when you actually are able to kill him. DPS him as hard as you can, make sure the nethers are down, and then take the 4th Annihilation strike and just die and wait for him to die. That's how I did it. Other important things to mention. Twisting Reflections, he will cast that after he casts Annihilate. You have to interrupt it. Use your Disrupt ability for that. Disrupt should only be used for Drain Life on Varus and for the Twisting spell. I should mention that I use the Spectral Flask of Power, increases primary stat by 70. And you want to make sure when Kruul comes down, you use Drums of Deathly Ferocity. Alright, so I hope I helped you with this. I hope you will get your tank appearance from High Lord Kruul on your Demon Hunter, or maybe our other classes. And I hope you enjoy the kill. Peace.
Arrogant fools! I am empowered by the souls of 1,000 conquered worlds. Even a fraction of my power will be enough to destroy you. Not so fast.